Hey, that's cool. It makes good sense to find out find out as much as you can before you buy. Especially considering that's probably the most expensive thing nowadays.
Well, and especially when you're dealing with uses that are conditional. You wanted to know about the post office, correct?
Yeah, I was noticing the map and the color things and some of that stuff about uses, and I wouldn't mind talking to you at a different time because I know it's tangential to what I need.
Okay. So, I guess you were wondering about the deed holder on the post office itself. It has
Hmm.
the deed holder listed as the U.S. Postal Service. We mail them their information at the Western Facilities Service. I'm not really sure what that is. I know that it's in Inglewood, California.
Hmm.
So that is where the post office is receiving its mail from Minot.
Okay.
Um,
I thought I saw something for Colorado in the address of the papers that got
it's
printed out.
in Inglewood, Colorado, is where this Western Facilities Service
Oh,
is. I can
so it's not
only
California.
no. I can only assume that they have some sort of office there that handles facilities.
It's got to be pretty if it's in Colorado. I mean, if it's not a known for developed area, but I'm hearing there's a lot of really bad stuff that's taken place since they made it impossible for people of housing and yet I'm sorry, I'm off on my tangents again.
Yeah. So I guess what I was getting at with you on the phone is that right now our GIS file has the deed holder as the U.S. Postal Service. And with this one, we can be pretty confident that yes, the U.S. Postal Service is in fact the deed holder because it's still the post office. Other properties in town, I would caution you to trust this immediately without verifying with the county recorder's office who holds the deed. Because, like I had mentioned, when you purchase a property, you take
Mm.
your deed down and you have it recorded with the county recorder's office. There is a lag time between when it is recorded with the county recorder's office and when it shows up on our parcel viewer. I
Hmm.
do not know what that lag time is. I've never like tagged one. I should have done that
Hmm.
when I bought my house. I should have recorded my deed and then seen how long it took to come on here because it
Hmm.
would have given me an idea, but I didn't. So I don't really know how long it takes for a
Hmm.
deed to move from recording to being updated in the files on the publicly available parcel map. So I guess what I was getting at on the phone is if
Hmm.
you want to know who the current deed holder is and to see the actual information that was recorded with the deed, you're going to want to stop at the county recorder's office in the county admin building on the second floor. And they would provide you with anything that's publicly available for viewing.
Well, thank you for the reality check. But they would not have provided me with the public right of ways. I did have to come here for that for the postal property, right?
You can actually view a copy of the plat. There would be a
Hmm.
recorded copy of the plat on there as well,
Well,
as
that's what she was
along with
telling
any
me.
right of way plats adjacent. Because right of way is, well, that depends on how old it is. So
Actually, she told me I had to go here for the public right of ways, that she didn't have it. All they had were copies of the plats, and she was getting all upset at me.
the the right of way may or may not be platted in that old of a part of town, and it may or may not be on the plats. Right
Mm-hmm.
of way plats are a more recent thing than like it used to just be if it wasn't included in the plat, it was kind of right of way, and it was I don't know. The plats have come a long way since Minot first started
Mm-hmm.
being platted in the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
So right of way plats may or may not be available at the county recorder's office. I'm not sure if those are recorded or how those are handled. I don't deal with right of way plats. I deal with property plats. Um,
So, what's the difference between a right of way plat and a property plat?
right of way plat is more. It's just dictates where the right of way is. It has a lot. It happens when the government purchases or takes through eminent domain property for to build or construct a road or any other infrastructure. They,
Like a sidewalk or the side of the road that we'd walk in lieu of a sidewalk so we don't obstruct traffic.
yeah, that's all included inside of the right of way. Not all right of way is platted. Right of way that has a
Mm-hmm.
recent project on it will have been likely platted as part of it. You could also see the engineering design.
Mm-hmm.
Those likely aren't recorded when you get
Mm-hmm.
that from the engineering department that was in hand. Like if it's a city road, you go to city engineer.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a county road, you go to the county engineer. They would have those project files and project designs and
Mm-hmm.
street designs.
I'm not saying that it won't be relevant in the future. For right now, I just want to know where I can legally stand when I'm using my camera, whether it's as an adaptive device or I'm just using it to enjoy things, whether it's the sunshine coming through that window or this is that view or whatever. I want to make sure to it that what I'm doing is legal. And I know where I have a right and where I can stand my ground and where I better get off of there because the person that has the, this person, owns the place and I'm interfering with their rights.
Yeah. I know I can't speak to that. I don't know what those laws are. I don't.
No, you said that you were talking about. You said that you knew. I mean, that between you and the other people about plat holders and public right of ways, with the exception of current projects, you would most likely have this stuff down, and the county recorder would possibly.
For public right of ways?
Yeah, where we
They
can
may or may
safely
not
walk
have
on the
right-of-way
side of the road.
plats. I don't know how right of way plats are handled.
Hmm.
But
they-
property plats that like current plats that.
Mm.
Let me
When
pull
you
up-
say
let's
plats-
let me show you what I'm talking about here. So
Okay.
on these old plats, these are very old plats in downtown Minot. Let's pick any downtown Minot property here.
Can you define what a plat is too, please?
A plat is a map that shows property boundaries.
Okay, just in case
So-
my phone recordings don't go through.
On here, you can see that they have the lots, and then they label First Street, but they don't, you know what I mean? They don't show this as right of way necessarily. They just they just label it as a street. Let's go to a brand new plat, something that's been platted recently.
Okay.
Go down by the hospital. There's some projects down there that have some recent plats on them.
Since auditing started taking off and the first round of people successfully, I mean, there's been some people that got through this successfully without having their lives and reputations destroyed. I don't want a whole bunch of people coming out here half-cocked thinking they're going to score a gold rush.
Okay.
And in reality, there is this really hard, responsible stuff we need to do.
Yeah.
Besides taking the time to know the law in detail to the point where we can quote it without, consulting notes, we've got to know this part of it too.
So now you can see a modern plat. You can obviously see there's much more information required on a modern plat than a plat from the early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, where you find downtown. So this is from 2012. This is out there where they built the new Dairy Queen on Lot 7, right across from the new hospital. In that
Okay.
area where the gas station and the Dairy Queen and some other commercial buildings have gone in.
It
So you
says
see this
60-foot
road right-
easement, or is
60
that
foot ease where you see 60 foot.
lot 8?
That's probably, I don't know what that is.
10-foot PUE. Yeah, I know. Neither do I. But if
PUE is a public utilities easement.
okay,
So,
but the
these
10-foot
easements
easements.
are likely related to infrastructure. You'd
Uh-huh.
have to pull the legal, you'd have to go up into the legal descriptions of these plats. So this one is 60-foot easement per one. It's a pipeline easement in favor of the state of North Dakota. There's a document attached to it. So this is easement number 4. You come down here, easement 4 at Northern States Power. So that's a power easement. So the SRT, Verendry, it's NSP, but now it's BXL, and Central Power all have easements on this property. That in each one of our. And if you look down here, PUE is a public utilities easement. But if you go into here,
where it's legal to
you'll
walk
have
if you don't have a
actual
sidewalk.
right-of-way descriptions. So you can see that the right-of-way is labeled. It's got its width. It's got lines. It's got it labeled. All of this. So this is what I mean by platted right-of-way. So this right-of-way is actually platted into the plat itself
Okay.
and noted on the plat itself. And there's a lot more information within the right-of-way portion of the plat than there was historically. With the post office, you're dealing with a very old plat. So there's just not wasn't the information requirement for plats at that time like there
Okay.
is now.
Yeah.
So there may or may not be any right of way plat here. Like you can see that it's listed on here. This
Well,
plat's
you've
actually
shown
from the
an
60s,
outline.
so it's not that old, but it's old enough where some of the information you would see on that other plat is here, but not all of it. So And there may or may not be any right-of-way plats associated with it. So, but that's all the information that I have as far as the right-of-way adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
But like, again, my expertise falls inside of the lines, not outside.
Yeah. Well, from what I understand, the public right-of-way stuff, like I said, the stuff like the roads and the sidewalks, and I've had people actually threaten me. I had one cop try to counsel people to do a citizen's arrest if they caught me walking down a public road with my camera.
Okay. I'm not in any way familiar with what the laws are as
No,
far
that's my
as
job,
where and when you're allowed to record.
Well, actually, I guess it's all our jobs as citizens because it's such a crucial right. Right now, I've got a record. You did say that you're very sure the property is owned by the federal post office, but you're like the last thing in the line of people that get the information when the deed
I'm as
changes.
sure as I can be with the data available to me, which is the associated table that is attached to this GIS file.
Which means it's not perfect. There's a overwhelmingly strong possibility, but it's not perfect.
If someone else bought it yesterday, I wouldn't know.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. This is the last file to be updated, or one of the last files to be updated after a deed is recorded. If you want accurate, up-to-date deed information for a property, the county recorder's office knows exactly when it's recorded because they're the ones that record it.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It legally changes hands as far as the government is concerned once that document is recorded.
So people can get all excited. They can be absolutely sure there's a yeah, but this is as much a Vegas-style gamble. I mean, it's worth it for our liberties. I mean, there were people that were arrested for bringing seeing eye dogs into public when the service animals first came out. People do need to do stuff to be, to take chances and to make records. Like the information I'm getting here, you may not be perfect, and I don't want to get you in trouble or ask any trick questions, but I'm grateful you're willing to give this information to the best of your knowledge, but you're the last one in line, so
like
go
I
to
said, the information, if you want up-to-date information, that I give you up-to-date information on what's happening inside the lines. I can tell you what the current zoning designation is.
Inside, when you say inside the lines, what do you mean?
I mean inside the lines, so we'll go to this next map over here. This is the map that I make sure is up to date. Me and my planning division, we focus on, this is currently zoned C2. That's that color on the zoning map.
The pink section.
Yeah, so the
The
pink,
stuff that's gray
the
and
pink color, anything that doesn't have a color assigned to it falls outside of the jurisdiction of the planning division.
okay.
I don't have any jurisdiction within to enforce land use within that area.
No.
And then we have this map right here. This is our comprehensive plan map, which deals with if someone wanted to redevelop this property. So for future land use map designation, it has public and institutional.
So they'd have to go through the federal government in order to redevelop that stuff.
Well, if someone bought it,
Yeah.
it would be a project by the federal government. The current owner wanted to redevelop it. I don't know what that takes, but I don't know what the federal government does when they decide to redevelop property.
No. Yeah, or whether or not they decide to sell it to somebody who wants to redevelop, you'd probably have to have a lot of connections to get through that.
I don't know what the process is for,
No.
the federal government, the getting rid of land. That you'd have to reach up to the government, to the federal government, and ask them what the procedure is there.
But for the grace of God, go
I'm
I.
just saying that when you're coming to my office and you're talking to me, these colors are what I deal with. And my staff deal with. We deal with the zoning classifications and their comprehensive plan classifications.
Well, it still matters because I have certain rights in that federal post office that I don't have on anything that's privately owned. I mean, I do still have rights where it's privately owned. Landowners do not have carte blanche. That's part of the reason why we have laws, so they can't say, okay, you're on private property, I can kill you where you stand. There's got to be a case of, get off the property or call the police, that sort of process. And it saves a lot of lives, and it cools a lot of people down that, would otherwise die the minute somebody gets mad.
I don't deal with that. I deal with land use classifications and...
Well, in a way you do, because this here, I legally have the right to go up and down, no matter how mad a property owner might be. They can't interfere with my right to get from one end of the city to the other on these streets. And it's the same thing with the sidewalks and the other stuff. So these are things that I need to know because, like I said, I have the right to not be harassed by utility workers who are working in an area that's visible from a street or a public right-of-way, and I have a right to be in the public right-of-way as long as I'm a safe distance from them and not interfering with their work. That's how the law works.
You need to consult an attorney on what your rights are and are not when dealing with what's happening on private property.
Yeah, well, okay, so basically only a lawyer can tell me that I can walk down a public sidewalk?
No. Hey, you can walk down a public sidewalk. I can tell you that you're allowed to walk down a public sidewalk.
What about a public easement adjoining a road?
A public easement adjoining a road?
Or public right-of-way is what you term them here.
So those are very, very different things.
Okay.
So in my office, we split hairs between an easement and a right-of-way. Those are two very different things in the planning world.
Hey, that's all right. It's this particular laws of the area.
So there are hundreds of different kinds of easements that can be anything from allowing you to mine resources up to full public access easements. A right-of-way.
On the auditing world, they're calling it
just that. Everyone in the public has the right of way to access that property. It is fully under public use. You have full public access. So a full public access easement would act similar to public right-of-way, but it's still, we'll use section line right-of-way as a good example of a full public access easement. You have free right of movement on a section line right-of-way. That was originally done when section lines were created. But it's not platted right-of-way. It's a public access easement that lays over top of private property. Beneath that easement, there are still private property rights.
Hey, just
a reminder.
Yeah, just a reminder. You got a meeting at 2 in conference room 1.
Okay.
I gotta pick someone up too, and I'm probably gonna catch him on a handbasket because he's buying my gas for rides. And the nightmare is, though, I mean, I don't need to go to jail here, and that stuff about easements and right-of-ways, I should make sure to it. I got enough time in my camera left to come back because these are things that are important. Over in the auditing world, we got a whole bunch of videos from real prestigious, good people that know the law, like Audit the Audit, James Freeman stuff, a number of, I'm not sure about James Freeman, but one auditor after another about this is a public easement, and that's where my original videos, I'm saying this is an easement, but you're telling me over here, an easement may not be a public right-of-way. There's a term in this state.
The main distinction is the public right-of-way is there's no private property ownership that lies beneath it. So in planning and zoning, we deal with layers. There's layers of ownership and layers of property rights involved. Even in private property, you can own the property but not own the mineral rights. You can own the property and not own the rights to the air above it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's 3 layers of property rights. There's mineral below the ground rights, there's surface property rights, and there's air space property rights. And you may or may not own any or all of those on private property. Easements and right-of-ways operate in the same way. A platted right-of-way is a platted right-of-way, and it is public right-of-way. Anyone can access it and move freely on it. An easement in general means a layer of public or specific access that is granted as a layer on top of what is private property. So someone owns the property beneath it, and this easement is placed on top of that. That allows for something. It either allows for you to put utilities under the ground, or it allows for people to walk over top of it, and you can have airspace easements that allow you to fly over top of something.
Or Amazon's new round of delivery drones, or people spy drones, and such on and such on.
That I'm not going to get into because I don't know anything about the current laws as far as drones go.
You mentioned airspace easement.
The main distinguishing difference between public right-of-way and a public access easement is who owns the property beneath. And under the right-of-way, the government in control of that right-of-way owns the property beneath, and it is open for free access. An easement
What about an
only
easement?
grants
What about
the
a?
rights that are granted by the easement. And an easement is a document, again, that is recorded at the county recorder's office. So if you want to see
Okay.
what rights are granted by that easement, you need to pull the easement from the recorder's office and see what granted rights are included within that easement.
Well, what I was told at this office back when that flap went down over between 22nd and 21st Avenue was that they had a public right-of-way that went on the side of the road up to 10 feet deep, between 10 and 15 feet deep along those property things. And I was pretty upset about that the landowners, were responsible for the grass and the upkeep, but they couldn't tell people to stay off myself to a point. But I knew that I needed to get out of traffic for so many feet to walk on the side of the road.
I'm sorry, I need him now.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a meeting, so, but yeah.
No, I'll try to
Recorder's
come
office
back.
is where you're headed next if you want to see the most current deed for the post
Deed, but as far as it goes for the difference between a public right-of-way and a right-of-way over a private property, can I come back later to talk deeper with you? Because these are things I'm going to have to make sure. You can't be 1 inch out of where you're legally supposed to be if you're challenged, and you're asserting your right to do anything from record a sunset to a sporting event to anything.
That was the part where I was going to say that you need to talk to an attorney about. I don't know what rights you have to stand inside of public access easements or right-of-ways and then record what is happening on adjacent properties. That's something. That was the part I was saying you need to speak to an attorney. I don't know what the rights are.
There are a number of people that do our own legal research, and that is well established. If we're on an area that the public has access to, they can't charge us for loitering for photography. They can't charge us with disorderly conduct because a camera is considered a neutral device, and you can't alarm or harass people. But I need to make sure to it that where I'm standing isn't just presumed to be a public area. It definitely is. Yeah. And my rights to be there, as opposed to various other things, because I've had people say you can't watch me.
If you pull up this map and there isn't color on it, then it's probably public right-of-way.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a nightmare. I can't pull up the map while the phone's running anyway.
I can show you a quick, just real quick. This right here is an easement. It's denoted in green. This is a public right-of-way. So if you
is that a private property easement or is that utility? Is that a public access?
It's utilities easement. I'm not aware of where there are any public access easements that are recorded in the city. Public access easements generally happen more like out in the county where one farmer grants access to another farmer so that he can drive his tractor across his land to get to his farm field. That's
or his
I
cows.
dealt with them a lot more when I was in the county than I do in the city. In the city, if you want to turn something into public access, most of the time you just plat it as right of way. And then it just becomes public right of way.
Is there any incentive to allow public access, or is it something that a person can have or not have?
It's entirely up to the landowner, and whether or not they're providing an incentive isn't something that I would ask them.
I was just wondering if there was a tax difference, or is it a case that somebody can go ahead with a shotgun and say, okay, I bought the property, I'm eliminating the public access, stay the bleep off of here.
That would depend on how the access was recorded.
Okay, so talk a little more with the county.
Legal.
I definitely want to get some more time on my camera.
Properties changes hands. I don't dictate how people sell their property or buy their property.
No. Well, I'm just wondering how they change those lines, because you're saying that it's up to the private property owners themselves too.
It is. They're the private property owner. They decide who and who does not have access.
Well, when you got a public sidewalk across there like they had on 21st Avenue, do they have the right to suddenly say the public can't be on the sidewalk?
I don't. That would depend on whether the sidewalk was on public property or private property.
Well, it's next to the road.
Again, the property lines dictate whether it's public or private property. You need to pull the plat to find out where the property line is.
Okay, I'll ask more questions at the county place, but would it be that bad when the meeting's over if I?
You can drive back. We're open till 4:30.
Thank you for putting up with me. I'm sorry about the detailed questions. Okay, well, sorry, it's just I need them. I guess we all should need them. This is a good thing to be educated on, instead of all that asinine stuff in school. I remember Luke Simons criticizing the public school education with. I'm glad I learned parallelograms. It's real use when the parallelogram season comes into play, and that was in the middle of tax season. We know of the Constitution, and sometimes they'll put court rulings based on our Constitution, but Dr. Paul was complaining about it. Dr. Paul Sr., Ron Paul, was complaining about it, that, hey, none of us, very few of us read the Constitution, the actual document, or understand how the laws apply, what they were meant to apply, that sort of thing. These are questions that need to be asked. In a free society, this is what we need to do.